Very happy for that. Let's look at animation presets now. That's what we're looking for. So I'm actually going to create a new composition and get back to D1DV and actually I'm going to bring in an image. So let's now choose something. Let's say the car. And I'll bring that here. So now I have the car. I'm gonna go to scale and scale it down so that it fits the composition. I'm gonna zoom out, control minus, and go like this. Now what can I do with this as far as ready-made animation presets? You see, before I talk about animation presets, if I selected this, I can go to effect, for example distort, and choose, for example, page turn, right? So here I can change the different parameters for my page turn preset. Now I'm changing the value, but the effect is changing a bit slowly. It's because of the computation. So I'm going to go down to a lesser resolution, and then I'll be able to change this a bit more interactively. And I can click here to actually change the position of the fold like this. And if I wanted to animate this, I would click here, of course, move the time, say 2 seconds or a bit less, and just place this at the other side. To get to the keyframes, I either open the effects and the page turn, and that would be the keyframes, or I can press U to go directly to the keyframes. So this is one effect that I added, which is the page turn. If I go here now to effects, I can click on FX to turn this on and off in case I wanted to activate this or deactivate this. Of course, I can drag out the keyframes to change their timing. I can put something in the backside, because here, let's turn this back on. In the backside, it's showing me the same image. So if I actually go to my project and use something else, let's say this one, alright, if I go back to my effects, here I don't really see the other one because it's not available in my composition. So what I need to do is drag it down to my composition, and now it will actually be available. So in case I selected this one here, I can actually select it and therefore it will be there. Now if I went, I can hide the apple altogether and just have the animation with the other side being displayed like this. So the important thing is to have this available in your composition. So that's one effect that I added. Let's add something else. Remember, I'm talking about animation presets, but I want to show you how animation presets are created. So we added one effect here. Let's go to effect and let's say blur and fast blur. Alright, so here if I increase the blurriness, the whole thing will be blurred. This might be something that I want, but again it might not be something that I want. Maybe I want to blur the car without blurring the page. If I wanted to do that, I would take the fast blur and place it before the page turn. And what that would do is actually blur the car, because that's the image that I'm blurring, and then calculate the page turn, and that would give me the required effect in case I wanted to have this. Alright, so here I have two non-destructive effects. It's not like Photoshop where you add something and it's built inside the layer. Here they are non-destructive, so you can turn them on and off. Actually, you can still do this in Photoshop now in CS3. But here it's much easier. You can just turn them on and off, and you can delete them altogether, and you would get that effect. So we're going to talk about effects a lot more later. For now, let's talk about animation presets, which are a combination of ready-made effects that are prepared, and you can use them in your movies. So let's see how this is done. For this to work properly, you need to have the Adobe Bridge installed on your machine. The Adobe Bridge is a program that actually connects the different Adobe programs together. So what I'm going to do is go to animation and browse presets to bring in the presets. Alright, I can apply recent presets from here that I have chosen before, but what I want to do now is actually browse the presets. And this will launch Adobe Bridge, which is installed with your CS3 installation. Alright, so there's the Adobe Bridge, and what I want to look at right now is the backgrounds content. So I'll double click, and here I have ready-made effects that I can use. So for example, if I click here on Magma, I'm going to get a preview of that animation. It's a bit slow on my machine because I'm recording now, but that's not just an effect, it's an effect with animation ready-made for you to use. So if I click here, for example, I'm going to get this effect and so forth. Alright, so let's choose this one. To apply it to your actual layer, I'm going to double click, and now this effect will be applied to my existing composition. So if I open now the layer, I see that this effect is made out of 4 different effects. Let's turn them off, all of them. The first one, they're selected, all of them now, so let's just select one. The first one is an effect called tritone, which is used to change the colors of the image into 3 different colors. In this case, white, green, or blue, or whatever you like, and black. So that's the first effect that they applied, tritone. The second one is the radial blur. So that's it. If I double click on it, I see the effect that I have here. The third one is the fast blur. And the fourth one is fractal noise, which happens to be animated. So if I look here at the fractal noise, it has 2 keyframes. If I scrub down, the keyframes for the fractal noise, we're going to talk about fractal noise in detail later. But for now, if I double click here, I see that the evolution is animated because it has the stopwatch clicked, and these are the 2 keyframes. So if I wanted to make my animation faster, I just bring these 2 keyframes closer, and now it changes faster. Otherwise, I can make it slower. So now you know how these effects are done. They are there to help you out in your animation, but be careful because everybody who knows After Effects will actually probably use these effects, so your work will be similar to somebody else's work. But I wanted to show you that these exist. Let's delete now, and let's try now to look at text effects, which are a bit more interesting. So I'm gonna type, for example, animation, and this is something that I used last time, if you remember, when we created the zoom animation. If you remember, I used the effect that I'm going to use right now. So that's my text. It looks blurry because of my quality here, third. If I set it to full, it will be high resolution. Control plus to go to 100%. So I'll go back to Adobe Bridge, and I'll go back over here, and what I'm going to choose now is actually text animation. So I'll double click, and here I have many different animations that I can apply to my text. For example, let's try 3D text. Again, if I click on one, I will see the preview over here. So these are nice because there's a lot of them, so you can choose one that other people might have not chosen. Some effects work on lines, which we have here. Some work on letters, so you choose the one you like. Let's say that that's the one we want to use. I double click on it, and if I press 0, I would get my animation right away without really having to worry about it. So actually it's nice because you can get a lot of nice effects with this without doing much work. If I actually expand this from here, again I get to the keyframe. If I press U, there's my keyframes. And to slow down the animation, you just drag these, and now your animation will go slower. So a lot of nice effects that we can easily apply to either background layers or to text. Okay, everybody try them now, and then I will actually give you an exercise to do.